Hello. The conclusion of Lockerbie, A Search for Truth, purposefully leaves many things unresolved, but it also has a deeper dramatic message about living in the present now. Lockerbie, A Search for Truth is a 5-part limited series airing on Peacock in the United States and Now TV in the United Kingdom. It dramatizes the circumstances surrounding the deadliest terrorist incident in British history. As all government investigations provide no solid evidence, devastated Father Jim Swire, played by Colin Firth, embarks on a one-man mission to discover what happened during the bombing that murdered his daughter. The Lockerbie trailer foreshadowed how the series would begin, showcasing the explosion and its immediate aftermath. But by the 5th and final episode, the series has covered more than 20 years of Jim's search for justice, and he's still no closer to the truth. While the series takes certain dramatic liberties in portraying real-life events, Lockerbie, A Search for Truth's ending delves into the angst around the Lockerbie bombing mystery, as well as the deeper human truth of being there for family. Did Colonel Gaddafi order the Lockerbie bombing? Gaddafi insisted he didn't, although it has been disputed. Jim sits in Gaddafi's residence in Lockerbie. The Search for Truth. Nabil Al-Ree played the real-life Libyan leader Colonel Gaddafi in the film Lockerbie. Jim talks with Gaddafi in the hopes of reaching an agreement to put the two bombing suspects on trial. Gaddafi decides to turn over the two men, and the trial begins. However, years later, it is alleged that Gaddafi himself ordered Megrahi to carry out the bombing. Gaddafi stated he did not direct the strike, but after the first Libyan civil war in 2011, former Minister of Justice Mustafa Abdul Jalil claimed that Gaddafi had personally ordered the bombing. Colonel Gaddafi commanded Libya from 1969 until his assassination by opposition forces in 2011. Gaddafi admitted Libya's culpability for the bombing and paid over $1 billion in compensation to the victims' families, an unprecedented amount for a terrorist act, although he only claimed responsibility since the accused were government employees. Gaddafi was slain by rebel troops shortly after Jalil's statement, thus he never confirmed whether it was real. After Gaddafi's assassination, it's unlikely that this matter will ever be answered definitively, although Jalil's testimony appears more credible than Gaddafi's. Why Jim believed Megrahi was innocent in Lockerbie. He believed there was a government cover-up. Jim puts evidence on a wall in Lockerbie. The search for truth throughout Megrahi's trial. The other families of those who died on Pan Am Flight 103 have prayed for a guilty conviction. But as Jim watches the judicial processes, he becomes persuaded that he is innocent. Jim suspected a government cover-up, and based on the facts and time of the explosion, he concluded that the bomb had been put at Heathrow. He couldn't tell whether it was a cover-up by the Libyan, British, or American governments, or if numerous governments were acting together. However, he was certain that Megrahi had been framed in a government scheme. Why Jim collapsed after the verdict. Megrahi felt overwhelmed by what he perceived as a miscarriage of justice. Jim looks off-screen at Lockerbie. The search for truth throughout Megrahi's lengthy trial. Jim sits in the audience with a legal pad, taking meticulous notes and following the trail of evidence. He makes significant revelations, such as his view that the bomb must have been planted at Heathrow. He begins to feel that Megrahi is innocent and is being framed by government agents. When Jim is found guilty, he collapses and needs to be carried out of the courthouse. This is because he believed it was a major miscarriage of justice, and the verdict overwhelmed him to the point where he lost consciousness. Jim explains why he campaigned for Megrahi's release. She was terminally ill. Jim speaks to reporters in Lockerbie. The search for truth. According to the series, Jim launched the Justice for Megrahi campaign in 2008 to try to have Megrahi released from prison while he was awaiting his second appeal. He makes it plain that this campaign is not politically motivated or concerned with whether Megrahi is responsible for the blast. Megrahi had been diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer and was terminally ill, so Jim felt he should be at home with his family rather than dying in a foreign prison. Megrahi is eventually released on humanitarian grounds, but only after agreeing to discontinue his appeal. Thank you for watching.